Marvel Phase 4 is a heap of dog shit. A burning pile of broken concepts and ideas, a complete letdown, with some exceptions of course. WandaVision isn't that bad, it wasn't great, but it was fine. Loki was pretty good. Shang-Chi I've also heard was pretty good. Spider-Man No Way Home was almost a flawless film. A great film, no doubt. Doctor Strange, in my opinion, was actually really good too. It wasn't bad. It was really good to see Sam Raimi in the superhero genre again. The Falcon Captain America show wasn't great, pretty sloppy, kind of a letdown. Black Widow wasn't good and a poorly timed movie. They released a movie about a character that was dead, very well established dead, and then released it. And they also screwed Scarlett Johansson out of a lot of money, so fuck them. Hawkeye is kind of boring, but truly you can't really say if he is or not because they failed to flesh him out to see if he even could not be boring. Plus, Green Arrow is just way cooler in my opinion. Sorry, not sorry.
Can't tell which of us is evil. I know, we've both got beards.
She-Hulk is just...
Cool?
Bruh.
Fuck off, I don't care. I'll deal with that a different day. One show on here that doesn't get enough talk though is Moon Knight. Moon Knight is an amazing show. It had pretty good popularity at its peak, but not enough praise in my opinion. Moon Knight is one of the very few shows that is done without the fullest intent of using a popular character and just doing it to get a shit ton of money. It feels like a true love letter to a character within this universe. Marvel, as everyone knows, has a system. They're so formulaic. It's just appalling how little they seem to care about characters outside of Captain America, Iron Man, and Spider-Man, especially within their Phase 4 shows. They're all watered down, boring, and cheesy messes. Moon Knight had personality, it had attention, it had passion behind it. Moon Knight is more than good. It's more than great. It's real. Moon Knight deals with issues that Marvel nowadays seems too scared to tackle. They won't go near anything serious. Anything that may make someone with a brain think.
Bruh.
Before we go any further, there is a spoiler and a trigger warning ahead with abuse, violence, and mental trauma. This isn't meant to hurt anyone, but to inform you on Moon Knight and his story. Please watch Moon Knight if you haven't. Thank you for watching though. And with that, let's get into Moon Knight. Mark Spector is a Jewish boy born in Chicago, Illinois. He had his father, his mother, and his little brother, Randall. One day while playing outside, Mark and Randall go to a cave they like to play in. While playing though, Randall gets stuck in the cave. Rain begins to fall, water begins to fill. Mark is left with nothing but his screams to listen as the rain continues to fall. His brother Randall drowns. The death of his brother Randall leads his mother down a dark path of depression, blaming Mark for everything that happened. She becomes an abusive mother, yelling at him, belittling him so he thinks it was all his fault, beating him so that if he ever thought of forgetting, the bruises would remind him what he did. This abuse would lead to Mark building up a dissociative identity disorder. Dissociative identity disorder, or DID, is a mental health condition where someone has two or more separate identities. Each identity controls their behavior at different times. Each identity has its own personal history, traits, likes, and dislikes. DID can lead to hallucinations and gaps in memory. This would lead him to create another identity within himself named Stephen Grant. Stephen was named after an explorer in a movie he watched as a kid and would pretend to play explorer with his little brother. He used this persona to have a part of him that wouldn't hate or fear his mother for who she really was. Stephen would continue to exist into his adult life. This is important to us as it sheds light on how trauma affects this mental disorder. From the International Society for the Study of Trauma and Disassociation, I found this great piece explaining how Mark and others in his situation might be affected. Most health professionals believe disassociation is a way the mind copes with too much stress. Many people with a dissociative disorder have had a traumatic event during childhood, although disassociation can also occur with other types of trauma. This is called trauma-related disassociation. Trauma-related disassociation is sometimes described as a mental escape. When physical escape is not possible, or when a person is so emotionally overwhelmed that they cannot cope any longer, sometimes disassociation is like switching off. Some survivors describe it as a way of saying, "This isn't happening to me." These reactions are usually temporary, but in cases of severe or repeated trauma, disassociation may last longer. This can be frightening and difficult to explain to others. Mark would continue to break up into multiple personalities as all of his pent-up rage and anger for his mother would lead him to creating a new identity in Jake Lockley. Jake is clearly his most ruthless persona. Mark nor Steven are aware of Jake Lockley's existence though. Mark, following his mother's abuse, would finally leave home as soon as he gets the chance. His father would try and get him to stay home, but Mark says it's too late. He hates his mother and it's too late for her to get help. Mark leaving his abusive home means he didn't have a reason to bring Steven forward, so he was able to keep himself himself at the front, at least from what he can tell, since, remember, he doesn't know Jake Lockley exists within inside him. Mark would join the US Marine Corps before going AWOL and becoming discharged. After this, he would become a mercenary under his former commander, Raoul Bushman. One day on a mission, Raoul Bushman became greedy on a dig site in Egypt, shot and killed all of his archaeologists. Mark Spector attempted to save them, but he was also shot by Raoul himself. Left to die in Egypt, he crawled his way to a temple and made his way inside at the foot of a statue, praying and begging that the pain would end. Hearing his calls, the Egyptian god of the moon, Khonshu told Mark he would become the defender of the night and deliver out justice towards those who have done wrong within the world. He would become Khonshu's avatar, meaning he will be given powers and a suit to summon whenever he'd want. This comes at a price though, having to serve Khonshu's will, having to be a slave to Khonshu for him saving his life. Mark, now serving Khonshu, would go around the world killing murderers, predators, and among others. Doing this, he has amassed a body count big enough to begin to weigh on him. He sees his healing powers more of a curse at this point than anything, wishing that one of his victims could finally kill him. The guilt of what happened at the dig site the night he became Moon Knight finally begins to overwhelm him, so he found one of the archaeologist's daughters from that night, Layla. Mark met her with the intent to tell her what happened to her father, but he couldn't do it. They ended up falling in love and going on many adventures together, including their hunt for the scarab of Amit. Later within the relationship, they would get married. After getting married though, Mark assumed that Khonshu wanted to take Layla as his new avatar after his time was up. Not wanting that to happen, he would leave her without ever telling her anything. Years later, his father would reach out to him, informing him of his mother's death. He would go back to Chicago for her funeral, but would remain outside, refusing to set foot in his old house and giving her the satisfaction of him mourning her. Despite that though, he would begin to break down, yelling to the sky and cursing his mother for abusing him. Not being able to withhold the emotions and memories of the abuse causes Stephen Grant to come to the front again and act like nothing happened. Stephen would move back to what he believed was his hometown in London, England. He would gain employment at a gift shop of the National Art Gallery. While working here, Mark would take control again at night, becoming Moon Knight, thus resulting in Stephen feeling often tired. And when Stephen comes to the front again during these missions, it would lead him to believe he is sleepwalking. That's where Season 1 picks up, even though you do learn some of that information from his past later on throughout the show. But one thing that Season 1 has that we haven't talked about yet is an incredible villain, Arthur Harrow. Arthur Harrow is actually the former avatar of Khonshu, meaning he's the old Moon Knight. He eventually grew to hate and disagree with Khonshu's ideals, following Amit.
I don't know what this is, but it's kind of hot.
Amit is the goddess of divine retribution, meaning she is the goddess of punishment given out by gods. Now that sounds very similar to Khonshu, right? They both kill bad guys for doing bad things. Well, Khonshu believes that people should be given the choice and judged upon the action of that choice. Amit believes they should kill those who even have those thoughts or plans beforehand. Stephen even realized this when they were talking to each other.
If Amit judges people pre-evil, like before the fact, then isn't she judging an innocent person?
So now we have a villain who you could see actually has a believable thought process. He wants to make the world a better place, just in a wrong way. Ethan Hawke's portrayal of this character is astounding. Truly a sinister character. He acts in such a calculated way. You watch him brainwash his followers with manipulation, and it's truly fun to watch him believe every word that comes out of his mouth, no matter how heinous. Khonshu, in a way, also doubles as a villain. Does he save Mark's life? Yes, but he also admits he did this because not only is Mark a tool for him, but because he is so broken he can take advantage of his mental disorder. Khonshu also stands as a great metaphor towards slavery. Him being an Egyptian having control over a Jewish man in Mark is sad, yet an amazing homage to his heritage, and also makes it that much better when he stands up to Khonshu at times. Now, for the best part of the show, Mark and Stephen's relationship, or lack thereof. Mark is well aware that Stephen exists, but Stephen is unaware that Mark exists. Season 1 of Moon Knight builds the tension of these two not only discovering each other, but working together incredibly. Mark Spector would continue to suffocate Stephen as they fight for Khonshu. Mark only learns to appreciate Stephen when Layla comes back into his life and shows him how useful he is when it comes to ancient Egyptian knowledge. Stephen is obviously a coping mechanism for not only his mother's abuse, but the death of his brother. Mark hated Stephen as he got older because he knew it meant he still thought about his mother. At least that's what he thinks. He initially believes that Stephen just keeps reminding him of his horrible mother. This finally changes when Mark and Stephen fucking die. They die and visit the afterlife. In this afterlife, they are told by Tawardi the guide of their souls, that they must find balance within themselves before they are granted access to the field of reeds, the Egyptian heaven. This leads them to go down each other's memories to learn who they really are. It's mainly Stephen finding out about his true life and Mark confronting his childhood. This results in Stephen finding out about all the people Mark has killed as Moon Knight. Every person sitting in a room, as Mark tells Stephen he remembers every single one. Before Stephen sees a little boy in the room asking why is there a child in here. The boy then leads Stephen down the road for him to learn of their brother's death, how it led to their abusive childhood, and for the first time, Mark would let Stephen take over. Not only does this sequence do an amazing job of Mark having to realize what Stephen means to him, but Stephen also having to process that he isn't his own person, but a persona for someone else, which is something so huge for a superhero show, especially a Marvel show to tackle. Like, what the fuck, Marvel?
Bruh!
When Stephen learns of their mother's death, it breaks him, as he assumes she was alive. He had no other idea, thinking she called him every day. Finally, he attempts to call her and talk to her one more time, before he picks up the phone and hears nothing but a dial tone, accepting that she is dead. She can't hurt them anymore. They hug and are able to move past what horrible things their mother did to him. They weren't able to balance their souls before they made it to the afterlife, so the souls of the restless in the desert begin to climb on their ship that they're being guided with and try to drag them down with them. While fighting, Stephen is dragged down into the sands and becoming stone, and now lost in the restless souls. This death results in Mark's soul actually being balanced, showing us that in a way, with no Stephen, he is able to accept what his mother did to him and move on. But that's not what happened. He just accepted what happened with Stephen. He wants to remember what happened to his brother. He wants to remember what his mother did to him so that no one else can experience this. He knows he made a mistake as a child. It wasn't his fault and he couldn't save him, but he can save others, and Stephen brings out the best side of him. Stephen reminds him of the best version of himself, the part that cares for citizens, cares about saving lives, cares about Layla, and cares about his brother Randall. Mark then enters into the field of reeds, the Egyptian form of heaven. He sees this beauty, but he can't accept it. Regardless of what the scales have deemed as balance, he isn't whole without Stephen. He chooses to leave the field to go back to the dunes and save Stephen, running into the sand and beginning to turn into stone as he reaches him. Before turning fully into stone, Mark bends down, holding his stone heart within his hand, and puts it in Stephen's hand, uttering, "You're the only superpower I ever had," before turning into stone. Both Mark and Stephen now left frozen, holding their heart together. The gates of Osiris then open, unfreezing them and letting them be resurrected to go save the world from Arthur Harrow and Amit. This show is so important for Marvel in the sense that we as fans need to applaud this. This show may not be your favorite, or it may not be the best, but it's a great show with amazing amounts of effort. When we see effort like this from Marvel, we need to applaud it so they know this sells more than any dumbass Thor or Hulk joke. Mark Ruffalo is a great actor, but the bro looks like he doesn't even want to be Hulk anymore. Oscar Isaac though. This man plays two characters within the show that are technically the same person and does an amazing job.
Me neither. Listen, if you've got a problem with the body count, I suggest you stop listening to that stupid pigeon. Give me the body, Mark!
Sorry. You alright?
Bro wasn't bad as Poe in Star Wars, don't get me wrong, but this show proves that the writing within that was the problem, and he wasn't, because this guy is Moon Knight. He is a hero. He and Marvel did a great job here, and they should be rewarded so they know what works for us. Regardless if they listen, we need to make it clear what the standard is. I love Moon Knight for what they did here. They knew Moon Knight wasn't every kid's favorite, or even second favorite superhero, but they did it. They made him special. Oscar Isaac made it special. Moon Knight is special. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate all the support I've had. I don't even know how to quantify how much support I've had in the last couple months. Not even months, month. I've had 1 month and I'm almost at 2,000 subscribers. I don't know how to feel about anything you guys give me anymore other than I'm consistently smiling. And my days are made so much better by all of you. So, thank you so much for everything that you guys do for me. It means the world. And if there's any other characters or shows like this that you'd like me to talk about, please leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you enjoyed. And as always, have a great day.